This is probably one of the most heinous invasions I've ever had to participate in since I've started Elden Ring. Spoilers, this is a 23-minute long video for one invasion, which is not really uncommon. You know, a lot of my videos are about this range. I've even had some invasions that are this long before, but I've never put in the full one just because I like to cut those things down, trim out some of the fat. This is going to be all of one invasion. These two, this was like some old school, like Grace Liurnia camping shit from back in the dawn days of Elden Ring. Not what you would see or what you would expect to see like 2 or 3 days before the anniversary event of Elden Ring. Hopefully DLC event, we'll see. But these two here were camping the Boil Prawn Shack Grace. As you can see, they're very, very prepared for this fight. They have all sorts of really, really, really terrible, heinous stuff to kill invaders coming in this area. Speaking of invaders, trigger warning, I let a lot of invaders of Reds die in this video. For various reasons. One, I have to kill myself because of also reasons. I don't think I need to explain why that happened. I'm sure you can guess. But regardless, this was a very, 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 very drawn out invasion. It's not a very pretty invasion. There's a lot of very boring segments in this, and that is because I never really get, until at least the very end, a very clear way to kill these two. So again, there's going to be boring segments, and even when there is some action going on, it's pretty ugly. It's not stylish. It's not even really very good playing on my part. It's ugly. It is a raw video. But at the time, I really didn't have a whole lot of leeway to do anything stylish or interesting when I got down to the point. I was just so happy to actually be able to take down these two. I never expected from the start to actually win this invasion. As soon as I spawned in, saw what these two were wearing, what they were equipped with, I had no expectations at all of winning. My only expectation was to draw this out as long as possible, annoy them, and try to see if I can wear down some of the ungodly stockpile that they have accumulated to do this, or to lure Reds into this type of fight. So that's the intro to this video. We're going to talk about it a little bit, and we're going to see what happens with it. If you didn't get it yet, this whole video was completely unplanned. So this type of invasion is very, very different than just fighting a host and a phantom running through a level. You have to approach these people in a very fundamentally different way. As I said, I let a lot of Reds die in this invasion because as I watched them engage these two, I could see very quickly whether or not they were going to be able to assist me in killing these type of people or not, and they just were not usually up to the task. I don't know if they were, I mean, again, this is level 60, so a lot of them maybe were a little bit newer invaders. Maybe they just didn't have the builds that they needed to take on people like this. I don't know if anybody really has the builds to take on two people like this. It is very, very, very tough. I do manage to pull out a win against these two, but it is not pretty. It is not fashionable. There's no stylish kill at the end. It is frantic. It is just ugly. But it works, and I do pull it out. But it was not easy. Hopefully, I have drained these two of a lot of their resources for a little while. Unfortunately, though, probably not, because with item duping and handing things back and forth, they might be at it tomorrow again. But hopefully not. Hopefully, I have spared some invaders, these two, for at least a week. So that nobody will have to come across this, and if I manage to do that, that would be all I needed to have. That would be perfectly satisfactory for me, in addition to the satisfaction of winning in this invasion. So, what are they doing? What are they using? Well, what are they not using? They're using Glintstone Scrap. They're actually using Carrion Retaliation to, I don't know if it's an exploit or a glitch anymore. I guess it doesn't do 1 million damage, but I don't think it's still intended. They're using the Carrion exploit, or Carrion Retaliation, to get the Glintstone Scrap, the little swords above their heads, the nearly invisible ones that are very fast. They're using Iron Jar Aromatic to tank all sorts of damage in the middle. They're popping a little healing rift. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like the Holy Ground incantation. Person over there is using the host is using a shield with the Ash of War on it that gives you healing over time. They are casting, or not casting, they're shooting lightning arrows. They have lightning ashes of war on their weapons. Man, they have everything. You see over here, this red. I don't know if they're new or if they're just, thinking that, maybe they just don't want to fight this type of invasion. And they're just trying to get it over with. See a moon veil there? Just keeps running in back and forth. Obviously, that's not a good idea. If he has moon veil, if he or she has moon veil, if he or she has spells, looks like they're a spellcaster, we need to be casting spells at them and trying to see if we can drain some of their flasks, some of their vials. But this person just keeps running in. They're just taking a lot of damage. They're having to use up a lot of their own FP, a lot of their own flasks. So this isn't a very efficient way for this person or for us to take down this group. So I have already written this red off. I know this red is going to die. I'm going to do what I can to assist if there's an opening or if maybe they do a little bit of damage. But you see there, they don't. They get stun locked in the lightning arrows and the water, and they just pass. And so the first red here in this invasion is dead. But I gain a flask out of it, so I go a little longer. Also, look how far Glintstone's scrap goes. I mean, that's pretty useful. I need to remember how to keep some of those on me at all times. Again, I will state, I was not prepared for this invasion. I am, at this point in time, just a couple of days before the arena event hosted by the Dashing Saint, the charity event. And this is a rune level 60 character. I have taken off a lot of the items I had on this build, taken off my ranged bow, all sorts of things, just because I was trying to iron down exactly what I wanted on it for the arena. I did not expect to come across something like this. Was just trying to do some fun invasions. Had a bunch of fun ones until this one. Even though I win this was not fun. So I'm missing a lot of things that could have made this a whole lot better right now. A lot of things I could have used to chip them down. So instead, I'm having to make do with all sorts of impromptu things that are not optimal. But that's not really a concern. Damage, I do want damage, but it's not as big of a priority to me is doing things constantly, throwing things at them, using whatever I can, running around to make them use their resources. Because my resources are finite, are extremely finite. Theirs appear to be unlimited, but are also finite as well. So the more that I get them to cast at me, the more that I get them to throw things at me, the more flasks I get them to use, the better the odds are they're going to start getting annoyed, making mistakes, doing any sort of thing that can give me any opening at all to actually be able to pull something out of this invasion. But this entire time, I'm going to be honest with you, I had, at this point in time, and until the very, very end of this, I had no hope in my mind whatsoever that I was going to win this invasion. I did not think I was going to win it. My whole goal was just to annoy these people as long as I could. Maybe take up this invasion space so only so many invaders will have to deal with these two. Obviously, reds besides me are still coming in, but my thinking was that as long as I'm in here, someone else is not having to deal with this. So I might as well drag this out, annoy these people as much as possible, make them use as much of their stuff as I can so that they have less of it later on, or will have to recuperate and gather it again before they can do this. Either way, again, I wasn't thinking about victory at this point. I did not think victory was possible, but I did think that I could get some sort of small victory out of this by keeping other reds away from it, and also, again, just draining their resources as much as possible. You see this red over here is being way too aggressive, just running into the spells they have, running into the retaliations, running into the lightning, not really thinking about the best way to go about engaging these two. Now, this may be a newer red, I'm not judging them, but again, this is another person that I've already written off. I've seen how they play, and running in with them will only get me killed as well. It's not the right person to take down this group. And that may sound harsh. I'm not trying to be harsh. Well, now I'm trying to be harsh because this person turned around and tried to attack me. Spoiler alert, if you are a red and you attack another red for any reason besides the fact that they attack you or they seem to be on the host and phantom side, then you are a dipshit, and you need to get a little bit of education beyond a second grade level to not be that way that you are. So don't attack other reds. Don't do that. Don't be that person. You are a meme if you do that. If you want to invade, if you want to get better at invading, if you have a co-invader, because in Elden Ring you rarely ever get co-invaders. If you are lucky enough to get a co-invader, and they're helpful, don't attack them. Now, obviously, again, I'm letting them die. So you might say, well, you're not helping them. What are you doing to help? Are you being hypocritical? It's different. It's very different. I cannot do or control or hold that person's controller in my hand and instruct them on the best way to take these two on. They are going to engage them however they see fit. And if they're engaging these level of players in a way that is going to get them killed, they're just going to get me killed too if I run it. So again, I have to write them off. My goal at this point is to see what other invaders come in. All I need is a solid co-invader, someone who has at least decent fundamentals or knows how to take on this group, knows that it's not a good idea to just run in. The second I see someone, a red, pull out a bow, pull out a cannon, start casting spells from a distance, I am going to start pressing these two as well. But any red that comes in has not had the benefit of seeing so far all the bag of tricks, so to speak, that these two have. I know what they're doing. I've seen all of it. I know everything that they're using. And I can't convey that to the other red. You see here, this red, a third red, just runs right in and just dies immediately. So I'm going to take a little bit of time, so I know that those flasks are coming back to me. Try to heal up, get a top off, because I know I'm going to get those flasks back to me. At this point in time, I have settled in. I have settled into this invasion. I'm just going to do what little chip damage I can over time to them, do whatever small bit of damage I can, let them know that I'm not going to run in, that I'm going to sit back here, and I am not leaving this world until they either press me, they kill me. I'm not going to run in and just die, for their amusement. They're going to have to actually play the game and play at least semi-well to do something about me in this world. That is the core essence of an invader. That is the core essence of invasions. It's not about winning. It's about being a hindrance in someone else's world. And if you're, obviously if you're being summoned in to help somebody, then you're being a help in their world. But it's a balancing act. Invaders are balances to summoning people in your world. It keeps the games honest. It keeps hosts honest. And obviously, in Elden Ring, 2 phantoms and 1,000,000 blues spawning constantly are keeping us honest. So, it's all part of the greater plan of Miyazaki, obviously. So you'll see this red has just spawned in, and this person I can immediately tell is a little bit better than the last invaders that we've come across. They do aggress, but they're looking and seeing what the host and phantom are doing. They are assessing the situation, and they assess that it's going to be very tough to go in there and hit those two and do any real damage to them unless it's overtime damage because of how little damage they're taking. Now this is a risky move here, obviously hit the co-invader, but I judge that the host is still in that iron jar aromatic, so he can't get after the co-invader very quickly to kill him. I almost get a chance to take down the phantom, but I could not do it in time. So now we're having to settle back into the long haul against these two. Again, this co-invader is just kind of running around, seeing what damage he can do, seeing if anything does anything. But if they're making one small mistake, and I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong, but clearly that iron jar aromatic is making it so we're not doing any real damage against them. I just keep casting, the mist at them just to kind of constantly be doing something, proccing the frostbite on them, whatever I can. But, again, they're still using the glintstone strap and the carrying retaliation, so they constantly have a retaliation over their heads. So if we run in, we're going to get hit by that. We're going to take damage. We're going to have to use up our resources. It's not a good way to deal with them. So we either need to wait for in between when their little buff goes away, when they're not using orange aromatics. We need to keep hitting them with ranged things. Now, unfortunately, again, I'm not pulling my part here in the range department because I, in a stupid way, put away my ranged options today just for the event, because I didn't want to have to deal with it. And if I had known, there's no way I could have known, but if I had any possible idea that I had to deal with this, I would never have put it away. This would have been a whole lot. I don't know if it would have been easier, but it would have been better. That's certainly true. At least I would have felt like I could do something. But now, unfortunately, Ares has gotten himself too engaged, and he will die to the ultima stun of the repetitive, constant barrage of lightning arrows in the Uraniaga Lakes. Just the Gainter special here. It's just it's like a throwback. It's like listening to music from the '80s. Seeing these two do this stuff is just like it's older than AFK farming almost. It's ridiculous. Now something changes here. These two move away from the shack, and at first I'm thinking maybe they're lower on resources. No, that's not it. What about the shack is actually a hindrance to them? I'm going to let you think about it for a second. What could it be? Except for the giant hitbox of the shack itself, blocking an entire side around them for us as invaders to hide behind. So what have they done? They have moved into the middle of the lake there. There's nothing around them but water. It's all water. They have a clear view, an open view, 360 around them with no man's land for at least like 50 feet on each side of them of just pure water. So they have actually moved, and I'm realizing it now in right this moment. I'm like, okay. I'm like, why did they do this? Wow, that's why they did this. This has become much harder. They are in the middle of the lake. Every lightning arrow, I can't take cover behind anything anymore. All I've got are the little trees and things behind me, and I'm now thinking about how can I approach them without that cover that I've had this entire time. And they know that I'm going to have a more difficult time engaging them in this. But I still have to persist. I realize that I'm just going to have to adjust. I'm thinking if I can use anything else, but really it just comes down to the fact I'm just going to have to keep doing little chip damage over time. I'm not getting as much back in flasks from the invaders as I had. I'm starting to use more resources, so I have to be more conservative. Going to see what this other red over here will do, see how this plays out, and see what we can make happen. And again, still no thoughts of victory in my head, but at this point in time, 17 minutes into this invasion? They've used a lot of stuff. Again, I'm just thinking maybe I'm still draining them. Maybe that there's a chance that they won't be able to do this again anytime soon. And also, at the very least, I'm dealing with this so another red doesn't have to. See, the other red is being cautious. They know what's up. They understand that this is going to be a tough situation to deal with. But now, as you can see, they're going to die. The host and Phantom have given up all pretense of using anything that's not, clearly designed to absolutely destroy people in this area. They constantly have those bows out. They're just using barrage with lightning arrows on them. This is a worse nightmare as a red. Like I can't do anything. I have to maintain my distance. They're going to do constant chip damage against me. They're going to just have that constant heal on them. I think that's actually, but it looks like maybe they're a little bit low on FP. They're throwing down a warming stone there. I'm just going to keep again casting Cannon of Haima for not that much damage, but it's something. But I have to keep playing at a huge distance. I cannot play nearly as close as I was before, because they're just going to keep casting those lightning arrows at me. I'm trying to test them a little bit now to see what they're going to do, if they're going to do something different. Unfortunately, that actually missed almost makes me lose this invasion. You can see even the slightest bit of aggression. I didn't even go in there and hit them, but even just getting a little bit close just totally tanked my health bar, nearly got me killed, so that's not going to work. So what do we have to do? Same thing. Again, I told you there's going to be long, boring sessions of gameplay in this. But it's all for a purpose. I did all of this for a purpose. I didn't know that I was doing it for a purpose. I just thought I was just dragging this out. Because, you know, if you're going to play like this, if you're going to be this type of person in this game, I'm going to be the type of person right back at you. I'm going to, I'm going to hang in. I'm going to waste your time if you're wasting my time. You're going to get the invader you deserve. I'm going to be that for you. Even if I don't win, I am going to play the way you are playing back. I want to be fun. I want to be cutesy. I want to have, I want to be cute, as Saint says. But against these type of people, these people aren't cute. They got shit fashion, and probably are just got shit personalities. I don't know. Maybe they're normal people in real life, but I can tell you right now, in this game, they're annoying ass assholes. Like, they are the worst type of player. But again, because I'm a masochist and because I just do not and am not willing to back out of these things for any reason at all unless I have to, I hang in. In a minute, though, you're going to see that I think that they're starting to finally run low on resources. They're shooting things less. They're casting things less. You can tell that the host and phantom there have stopped using some of the incantations. And look what's happening. If you as an invader notice all of a sudden the host and the phantoms start to change their clothes, change their weapons, you need to pay very careful attention because they're about to do something. They're about to change their tactics. And as you can see here, they put on lighter clothes. The phantom has on a heavy thrusting sword, and the host has now put on a halberd, and they are chasing me. So all I can do now, I know that this is it. This is, if I have a chance, it's right now. But I also am in a very dangerous spot. This is the most dangerous most dangerous spot I've been in this entire invasion. So I'm going to use these Albanurics as best I can to get a little bit of cover. I'm not hoping for them to get damage or to kill these two, but I'm just using them to be some sort of distraction. Again, this is, as I said, it's going to be sloppy gameplay. It's going to be very rough, but my hands were shaking. I knew I had a chance to win right here, but I also knew that I could die at any second. These sleep pots are murderous. This halberd and this heavy thrusting sword, this heavy poison thrusting sword chasing me are murderous. I almost die, but I get a lucky break. I get down, get a chance to heal, get a piercing fang off. I get slept one more time, but fortunately, I get out of it in time. Piercing fang takes down the phantom. Now it's just the host and me. And then all of a sudden, I can immediately tell. Up close, these two are not nearly as good. They're using meta stuff, but they're not nearly as good as they were with all the stupid shit they were using in the middle of the lakes. And now alone, this host is nothing serious. He's not. He or she is not that bad. They're not that good. They're pretty average. And again, they're just quick swapping their clothes and their armor right here, and I get an easy backstab. After dealing with all of that, it's somewhat cathartic to know that at the end of it all, they're just kind of a shit player. So, be patient.